Let's now put our learnings into practice in the next two demos. In this first demo, we will start by preparing 3 nodes, including the Apache NiFi installations. Once this is done, we can start with the probably most critical point for the cluster setup, the proper configuration. Alright, for this demo cluster setup, I created 2 virtual machines on my local host by using Hyper-V. Their hostnames are NiFi Node 1 and NiFi Node 2. Each node has assigned 2 GB memory and 2 cores. They have both installed Java version 8 and the Java home environment variable is set accordingly. Please ensure twice that the nodes can basically communicate with each other. This will save you a lot of time struggling to find any error causes afterwards, as the logging isn't always that clear at first. For testing purposes, I even disabled the firewalls on the machines in order to not block any ports. So once the machines are ready and able to communicate, we can start with the installation and configuration. We basically need the unzipped installations of NiFi on each node. You have several ways to do so. In this demo we have already placed the installation folder on each node, with no changes made yet. However, since some of the cluster-specific configurations are the same on each node, we can do most of the changes on the local machine, and copy then the relevant configuration files to the other nodes, and make some minor changes there. Let's begin with the NiFi properties file in the conf folder on a local machine. The first section which requires changes is the state management. There you need to define to start up the embedded zookeeper, so this property needs to be set to true. Then we scroll down until we encounter the web properties section for changing the host name. This time we won't type localhost, as we would then have 3 local hosts using the same port. We rather use the real hostname this time. In the cluster node properties section, a little bit below, we need to configure that the node is part of a cluster and place again our hostname there, including any port we want to use for the cluster communication. In this section, we further change the NiFi cluster flow election max wait time property from 5 minutes to 1 minute. This is the time in which the nodes are electing the data flow, which initially gets replicated to all the other nodes. This node then becomes the primary node. Since this is a new cluster, all nodes should have a clean configuration and the primary node will be chosen after this timer runs out. The last thing we need to do in this file is setting the NiFi zookeeper connect string property. Here we list all the nodes running zookeeper. In our case, this is the embedded zookeeper of all nodes with the port 2181. We can copy this string as we also need to put it into the state management XML file in the cluster provider section. The last file we need to update is the zookeeper properties file. There we need to specify the servers that are part of the zookeeper quorum. For this we can take the commented example and just change the host names. The zookeeper nodes use there a pair of ports, 2888 and 3888. The first one is for other nodes to connect and the second one is used for the leader election. You could also change them if you wish. The index used for the list of servers is indeed very important, as it corresponds to a file that we need to create in the given data directory specified above. Per default, this is state/zookeeper. However, since we haven't started NiFi so far, these folders don't even exist yet. So we need to create them first and place then a file in the zookeeper folder, called myID. On this machine, we type the number 1, indicating the first index. Important, on the other nodes, this number needs to be changed to the corresponding index. Finally, for the sake of simplicity, we will copy the conf and state directory from the machine where we made the changes and paste them into the installation folders of the other 2 nodes. The only thing we need to do is now modifying the hostnames in the NiFi properties file and the myID file in the zookeeper folder, as just mentioned on both nodes. In the next demo, we will see how to start up this just configured Apache NiFi cluster.